All right. Hello and welcome back to Cage Side Press. I am Patrick McCorry, and today I am joined by a very special guest, the grandson of the great Muhammad Ali and an amazing MMA fighter, Biaggio Ali Walsh. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Doing great, man. Now let's talk about your last fight, Isaiah Figueroa. It was a quick night in the office. Were there any lessons taken from it, despite it being what seemed to be just a quick, easy fight?
Oh yeah, every fight you're gonna have some takeaways. That last one, I think being calm was the biggest takeaway because I kind of went out a little feisty. um, but yeah, I think staying calm, being more composed was the biggest takeaway I got from that.
And I want to ask you, your first amateur fight, it didn't go your way. Are you glad you had that experience? Obviously, everyone wants to be undefeated, but are you glad you had the experience of taking that loss, being able to come back from it, and now being 3-1 and being in the PFL?
Of course, it it sparked a fire in me. I wanted to fight immediately right after that. Um, and yeah, I don't expect my career to just be like this. I expect hardship. I expect adversity. I expect things that I'm gonna have to overcome in order to be better and someday be a champion. So yeah, the first my first fight, amateur fight, losing, it was a great thing. It was one of the best things that's happened to me.
And the PFL, like before we get into this upcoming fight, I want to ask you, how did the PFL thing come about? Because normally promotions like the PFL wouldn't sign an amateur fighter. So how did that come about? And being able to be on such a high stage at 1-1 as an amateur.
Yeah. So after my first loss, I was scheduled to fight again in Utah. And before that fight even happened, that fight was last year, August 27th. And before that fight, my dad or my brother was at a boxing event here in Vegas.
Yeah.
And someone came up to him with a PFL card, like a contact card or something, and gave it to my brother. I don't know what conversation went down, but my brother received a PFL card and he relayed it to my dad because my dad is pretty much me and my brother's manager. He takes care of anything business wise between the both of us. So he relayed it to my dad. My dad got in contact with the PFL, and I was completely unaware of this until my dad told me that the he reached out to the PFL, or the PFL reached out to him, and they started talking and they thought about signing me. And initially, when he told me this, I was kind of like, whoa, 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 like let's take it easy. I just lost my first fight. I'm 0-1 right now. Um, let's let's take it slow. Like this is kind of fast. But we spoke with the PFL. We talked about just how they want to kind of develop me and they see potential in me and stuff, and they believe in me. So, to hear all this and I'm 0-1, it was kind of like, wait, but I'm 0-1 and PFL will sign me. But I, I came to understand the bigger picture and what they saw in me. So after my fight in Utah, which was August 27th, after that fight, that's when we announced that I'm going to be signed with the PFL. And by that time, I was 1-1, and yeah, that's pretty much how it started.
Awesome, man. And with your name, you want to be your own guy. You want to be past the Ali name. But do you feel like you're every PR guy's dream? When they think when they post you, the Ali name, that's just going to help them get clicks. Or do you think like in the future it would just be because you're talented and not because you're related to Muhammad Ali?
Um, Wait, what was that last part again? You kind of cut out.
That it's not because you're related to Muhammad Ali, but it's because you're a great fighter.
Oh yeah, yeah. I feel like all of those things take take a part. You know, I've been exposed to media, to interviews since I was 14 years old when I was playing football. And they found out who I was related to, and even in football, it was a bunch of attention because I was talented. I was a good running back. I was scoring a lot. I had a lot of yards, good stats. I'm Muhammad Ali's grandson, so they would uh they would use that, for media content and stuff. Um, Sorry, my dad was calling me.
You're all good.
But yeah, they would use that, and uh, yeah, I think as a PR's dream, I think probably, I'm used to the media. Um, I would say that I'm a good fighter with a lot of potential. I have a famous grandfather. I know how to speak and articulate well. I'm very experienced when it comes to performing on a big stage. Playing at Bishop Gorman, you're not playing. We were number one in the country 3 years in a row, so you're not playing on a small stage there. My games were on ESPN, so yeah, I feel like everything that happened with football, even modeling, it just prepared me for this next career and this next leap in my life. Everything happens for a reason. That's what I believe.
And you mentioned the football. Is the playing football and training for football and dieting for football, is that something that you were so used to when you went into combat sports? Like, okay, I know how to do this. Because some people, I feel like they go into combat sports not knowing, how to take care of your body. Were you aware of, what works for you and what doesn't?
Yeah, I would definitely say that it's more disciplined in this sport. Because in football, coaches they encourage you to gain weight because
Yeah.
they want you to put on muscle in order to take the impact from a guy who's freaking 350 pounds. So they encourage to gain weight. In my sport, you got to lose weight. So like the whole cutting process, that was all new to me. I didn't wrestle in high school. I wish I did, but I didn't wrestle in high school, and I didn't know how to cut weight yet until I was fighting. But yeah, I would say that that's the main difference. I think the biggest similarity would be just discipline and being consistent and going to the gym and training and having that brotherhood. Football's a team sport, and you have that brotherhood. I thought that, coming into this sport, you kind of be alone. And yes, you are alone in the cage, but when you're training, you have a team. You have teammates, you have coaches, and you can't be successful without the love and support and help from them. So I think that those things, those discipline and um, like the team aspect and using your peers and your teammates transfers over very well.
And let's get on to this fight, man. June 16th, PFL 5, you're taking on Travell Miller, 3-2 as an amateur. How do you feel about this matchup, and where do you see your advantages lying in this fight?
Yeah, I think it's a great matchup. Um, he I think trains in Atlanta. Um,
Mm.
yeah, I think it's a good matchup. I think is a striker too. Maybe I don't know much about his grappling, but not that many people know about my grappling either. So they're gonna just say I'm a striker. Um, but yeah, I think it's a good matchup. Me and my coach agreed to it, and yeah, excited.
And let's talk about the training camp, training at Extreme Couture, Eric Nixick. Are you watching the film with him, or is he watching the film himself and then making the game plan for you? Are you someone who watches a lot of film personally?
I do watch film. Um, I actually watch film in slow motion because I want to see every movement. So you can't. It's hard to see that when you're watching a fight at normal speed, but when you slow it down, you could see everything. You can see everything. Um, Usually it's my coach Dennis, my head coach Dennis, who watches the film. Um, and then we conjure up a game plan and go in and just do our thing. That's the cool thing I love about Dennis is he makes going into a fight seem like going to the grocery store, or he normalizes it so much that it keeps me calm and it keeps me like, oh, like, okay, I'm just gonna go fight. Like, oh well. Like it's not that big of a deal. I'm just gonna go fight some guy who thinks he can beat me.
And as an amateur, now you have lots of experience. You're going into, I believe, was the fifth fight of your career. So you must know like what is your ideal camp length time? I know a lot of guys do like a shorter camp so they can just get in there, but a lot of guys do like the longer camp. So what's your kind of week basis and which do you prefer?
I'd say my camp kind of starts like 5, 6 weeks, six max.
Six max. And then
Yeah.
when do you start your weight cutting process then?
Ooh, I'd say like it depends on where I'm at in weight during camp, but like 2, 3 weeks out is when like it gets super strict. Like the diet, cutting the calories a little bit gets super strict, especially if I'm weighing over than what I'm want to be. Um, but yeah, like last camp before my last fight here in Vegas, I was on weight like a month out. So I was pretty good on weight and it wasn't as strict, but it's always the worst during fight week because you got to cut carbs, you got to cut sodium, and you eat like the way you eat is so boring, and you got to drink 2 gallons of water for like the first 2 days, and then a liter on Wednesday, the day before weigh-ins. So fight week is always sucks. It just sucks. But um, yeah,
And what's your weight at right now? About a week out from the fight?
I woke up 72. I always wake up and weigh myself. So I woke up and
172
weighed
or
72.
70?
Yep.
Yeah, 170. I was just making sure it wasn't 72 kilos. Um, so for this fight, do you have a prediction? Do you want to get the early stoppage? You know, that's the ideal thing, but would you also like to, test your cardio over a 3 round, maybe a 3 round war or something?
Yeah. That's another thing too. Wait, you froze.
No, no, am I frozen?
Can you hear me?
I can hear
Oh,
you
yeah. Okay.
perfectly.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Um, everyone, wants to get a quick stoppage. Um, but going into a fight, you have to understand that anything's possible. You can't think. That's the thing about fighting is you can't think. You're kind of like on autopilot. So the training, the watching film, the drilling, uh, an adjustment to your opponent, that's all happening during camp so that you can do it automatically in the fight. So yeah, I just plan to go in there, um, be in his face. That's kind of my style is I walk you down and I'm in your face the entire time and just do my thing, be on autopilot, not think, and just let things happen. If I get a quick finish, I get a quick finish. If I submit him, I submit him. If it goes the distance and it's a 3 round war, then that would be, I think, that would be like the best thing because it would be just more experience. So yeah, I go into every fight just kind of open to any possibility.
We're 6 months into 2023. We're at the halfway point. This is your second fight. How many more fights ideally would you like to get in and then maybe start to look at going pro, or are you still looking at going amateur for next year as well?
Um, I wanted to get 4 fights this year. April, June. Damn, it's June already. That's crazy. You're right.
I know, yeah,
April,
it's nuts.
June, August, November. That would be 4 fights this year. Inshallah, they're all wins. I would finish this year 6-1, and then see what happens after that. Sit down with my coach. Um, and also, before I turn pro, I gotta the level in amateurs has to go up and up and up because that's what happens in pro. You start and then you work your way up to fighting the best, right? So that's all I'm trying to do. After this year, inshallah, all wins. We'll sit down with my coach and see what's best for me.
And how do you like the PFL season format? Is that something you'd be interested in doing for your career, or would you like to, kind of go down the kind of normal time frame for like UFC fighters, for example?
I kind of like the season. What I like about it most is when you're fighting.
Yeah,
Sometimes in the UFC, fighters they'll get last second calls or um, like Masvidal. I know he's a big name, but like he fought on 6 days' notice. You know, um, I personally would rather know when I'm fighting and then get ready for that camp and plan any kind of vacation if I can before camp or something like that. So the cool thing I like about the PFL is you know when you're going to fight, and that ties into the season format. So yeah, I do like the format, and I think that that would be pretty dope.
And with Francis Ngannou now signing to the PFL, he's expected to make his debut next year around this time. And they're looking at opening that pay-per-view showcase kind of division. Is that something you'd be interested in getting on, like getting on one of those big cards? And do you think your name would get you higher up the card, even with your less experience than maybe some of the other lightweights that they may put on the card?
Um, Maybe my name would get me there, but I don't care where I'm at on the card. I just like because at the end of the day, whether I'm the first fight of the night or the last fight of the night, I still got to get in there and fight some dude. So, um, to me, I don't care. They might care more than I do where I'm at on the card. But yeah, I mean, if I were to get on a big if I were to get on a big card like that, it doesn't really make that much of a difference for me because I'm an amateur. I don't have a purse yet. Um, yeah, so for me, the only thing I care about right now is just going in there and winning.
That's great, man. And your career has been so good so far, and you mentioned maybe going for a submission for Travell Miller. So, is there any chance we see you just going in and instead of standing boxing with the guy, you take him down? Is that something that's in the back of your head? Like, maybe I show the wrestling side of my game.
Oh, that's in the front of my head. you know, there's anything like I said, anything's possible in a fight. In a fight, um, that could happen. You know, if the opportunity presents itself, I'm gonna capitalize off that opportunity. So it depends on what he does. You know, I don't know what he's gonna do yet. So, whatever he does, I gotta adjust to that. And um, yeah, if you want to wrestle, if you want to box, whatever, pick your poison. And this is, it's chess, not checkers. So anything can happen.
And before I let you go, man, is there a message you want to give to Travell Miller before your fight June 16th?
I don't really have that much to say. I know he's going to come prepared. Everybody that I fight is going to come prepared because they're fighting Muhammad Ali's grandson, right? And it's on the PFL, it's on ESPN, and we're still amateurs. So, yeah, I know he's just going to come prepared, and good luck. That's pretty much all I have to say.
And finally, why should the fans watch your fight? Did I cut out?
I
Or
think that they should
no?
watch it.
Oh,
You did the last second, but I heard you. Um, I think that they should tune in because they're going to see a good fight. I don't expect to, or I don't want to be the bathroom break fight. I don't want to be a boring fighter. I'm trying to be like Justin Gagey, Dustin Poirier, Michael Chandler. I'm trying to be exciting, and I want people to. What really means a lot to me is getting oohs and ahs from the audience, regardless of where you're at watching the fight. If you're at a bar. With all your friends and you're watching my fight, I want you to just go, oh, 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 like that. That to me means a lot because at the end of the day, like what we're doing is entertainment for the fans and the people. So my goal is to be an entertaining fighter. I don't want to be a boring fighter. So that's why I think the fans should tune in is because I want to be exciting and I'm going to be exciting.
well, thank you so much for joining me on the show and good luck on June 16th.
Thank you so much.